Tiene la palabra.
I give the floor to the director once again for her presentation. Thank you very much.
So, distinguished delegates, I have to brief you on the UNOOSA resources situation at the beginning of 2025. First of all, allow me to present you the trends, which I'm sure you understand well. Space activities are increasing. The number of satellites launched, the numbers of members joining, states joining COPUOS and applying for COPUOS membership, and the number of space missions that are being launched. Despite these trends, the UNOOSA budget continues to decrease and has decreased again in 2025. On this slide, I would like to highlight to you the budget that was approved by the Fifth Committee versus what was allocated to our office. You can see that the overall regular budget that has been approved is $5.52 million. However, due to liquidity, we have been allocated only approximately $4.2 million. Specifically, if we consider salaries, whereas the approved budget was $4.4 million, the allocation is far less than what we need to pay our salaries. It is only $3.7 million. Concerning non-post budget, the approval was just short of $1 million, yet what we received is less than half, $414,000. The general temporary assistance that was approved was 0.18, yet we received only $25,000. You can see drastic reductions in what has been allocated to our office despite what has been approved. This results from an indiscriminate application of budget cuts to what is already a small office. If we take a deep dive look into the non-post budget, this is important because it includes grants for developing countries, our travel budget, workshop, IT support and consultants. The amount that was allocated, the $414,000, needs to be further reduced, first of all to cover the salary shortfall, which right now is $85,000 but may potentially increase to $100,000 or more. It needs to be reduced to cover existing commitments that were already made based on our assumption that we would receive what was approved, and also unavoidable running costs, operational costs that our office must cover. As a result, that leaves our office with $75,000 for capacity building grants, which is where we bring representatives from developing countries to join our events, to participate in our workshops and so on. $37,000 for the entire office to travel during 2025, and $23,000 for capacity building work of UN Spider. Overall, this translates into a 73% reduction in the work program activities of our office this year being cancelled. I'm sure you can appreciate that this is dramatic and significant. The impact on staff. Critical positions cannot be filled. I've listed for you the head of space applications section, P5, the head of the UN Spider Bonn office, P4, project officer for registration, P3, government relations officer, P3 as well. The shortfall is not just a financial issue, it has strategic consequences. By not being able to fill the P4 heading up our Spider office in Bonn, it means that important missions to Gambia and Namibia and Dominican Republic will not happen. It means that promotion of the International Charter and the Copernicus EMS to your disaster management agencies will stop. And it means that the Global Knowledge Portal stagnates. The unfilled P3 project officer for registration means that the digital upgrade which is needed to track the vast increase of space objects being launched is on hold. Registration backlogs and safety of flight risks rise for all member states. The eliminated GTA P3 post means that UNOOSA may no longer be able to respond to every government inquiry or convene on all coordination meetings. And it means that Unispace 4 preparations will proceed with one fewer expert, directly diminishing member state influence on the agenda. The P5 Head of Space Applications Programme, this is the section which delivers the Space Applications Programme entirely, will have no leader. One officer must now juggle the UN Spider coordination across 3 offices and section management, halving capacity and placing field support to your countries in jeopardy. Other positions will be lost this year, namely 3 JPO contracts will not be able to be renewed. And of course you will understand that this situation has a strong impact on the well-being of my staff. We suffer already from an extreme workload. It produces uncertainty in the office and great anxiety. But at a higher level, this reduced funding and liquidity crisis causes an enormous hiring freeze. And as you know, the 5th committee doesn't look at the liquidity crisis. It simply looks at the fact that posts are vacant, and if they remain vacant, it cuts them. The impact on events. I know that this will interest you a lot. Some events we will be able to continue with, but with modifications. Importantly, bringing them to Vienna to start with to reduce costs, reducing the number of participants that will participate, that we can fund to attend, and so that affects the Space Law Conference and affects the event on dark and quiet skies. The International Committee on GNSS, the ICG, will only have one workshop which will take place in Nigeria because we have a host country agreement with them. However, it will have a reduced number of participants and staff can only travel thanks to XP. The following events are cancelled unless we can raise significant voluntary contributions for them. World Space Forum, UNGA High Level Week, Regional Centres Directors Meeting, the IAC Workshop on Space Science and Technology, the Space for Water Workshop on Earth Observation for Water Quality, Access to Space for All, the 2 rounds of HyperJess and drop tests, participation in UN events, the STI Forum, the High Level Policy Forum and the HLPC, and Spider institutional strengthening missions to various countries, UN Space, our office's participation at COP30, the planned expert meeting of regional centres, the Space for Women expert meeting, the UN Grant Symposium, the Space for Global Health, and the Spider Regional Workshop, which this year was intended to focus on small island developing states. You can see that there is a significant impact on our operations, with many flagship events being cancelled, such as the World Space Forum, UN Space or COP30, our presence at it. This means that the global dialogue stalls. UNOOSA is absent and COPUOS work is not highlighted or defended. 70% of trainings and workshops carried out by our office are gone this year. All developing country experts, especially those from small island developing states and least developed countries, lose support. Access to Space for All rounds have been scrapped, which means that student innovation pipelines break, and regional centre meetings and expert missions are halted, leaving countries without any technical backup. Our commitments are unmet. There is a reputational risk for the office and for member states. The visibility and credibility of our office and of COPUOS decreases as a result. The impact on member states, visualized with a world map here. No training for around 540 experts from 90 developing countries. That is what we achieved last year and what we hoped to improve on this year. We will not be able to do that. And when we look at our numbers, 72% of the experts that were trained by our office come from very high impact states. The loss of trained practitioners results in delays in SDG reporting, slower disaster response times, and weaker climate adaptation planning across different continents. However, of course, we try to be optimistic and we are looking towards a solution. The good thing is that the shortfall is only $1.3 million, which in the grand scheme of things is not that bad. We know that you praise us on the work that we are doing. We have received universal praise on the activities that we have carried out and organized and on the work that has been done. We are stepping up our efforts towards member states for extra budgetary contributions, and more private sector funding will be needed to fill the gap. The bad is, however, that the situation is dire and it risks getting worse. I'm referring to future budget availability and the potential impact of the UN 80 process, which is currently underway. The ugly, I unfortunately have to say that we are still asked to present lengthy proposals for, if you forgive my characterizing it this, very small amounts of money, peanuts. We do not have time to write lengthy proposals for small amounts of funding. Finally, the leadership response and member state support, my final slide. What have we done as an office? We have conducted a strategic review of the office. We had a consultant who assessed the ability of the office to deliver on mandate and on member state expectations. The consultant identified additional resource requirements and the need to enhance our visibility within the UN system, especially in New York. We have developed project proposals in line with your priorities, and those proposals have been shared with member states. We have conducted high-level engagement and advocacy and a series of crisis meetings with the Executive Office of the Secretary General, with the Program Planet and Budget Division, so the Controller's Office in New York, and with member states and permanent missions. And we are very active in doing fundraising and resource mobilization with targeted outreach to traditional donors and foundations. We have established a multi-partner trust fund, an MPTF, to provide predictable long-term financial support for space sustainability and space for the Sustainable Development Goals. What can you as member states do? We invite you to please make the case for this small office in New York, both with your permanent missions. Make sure that they are aware of the importance of this office, the importance that you attach to our work, and the importance of the need to advocate with the United Nations in New York, but also with the Secretary General directly. Please also review the proposals that we have made. 2 more will be coming to you shortly. Select the proposals that resonate with your priorities and that respond to your expectations, and please work to mobilize resources to support us urgently. Please be the difference, make the difference between stalled capacity that you see right now and accelerated progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. I thank you for having allowed me to give this presentation to you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Director. First of all, I'd like to apologize to the Director and to participants. The Chair was so gratified by